Oh baby, we're shooting from the hip today. I am the Cottony Collector, and today we are talking about whether or not WhatNot streamers are the scalper's final boss. Hey, as I said, yep, this is a bit of a clickbaity title, I get it. You're probably looking at this going, oh, he's gonna call out loads of streamers. I'm not. Let me reiterate first and foremost, these thoughts are totally my own. And to be honest with you, they may not even be right, to be completely truthful. But I do think it's important that we start talking about this at the moment. You know, as I said, this video is not talking about every single streamer, and it's not calling every single WhatNot streamer a scalper either. That is not the aim of this video. I want to reiterate, I actually know a lot of really good people who stream on WhatNot. I've used the platform myself for many, many years now. And honestly, it's a great place to go and get cards and to pick up stuff that you probably want in your collection, right? But I think it's important to actually start talking about people that are taking advantage of this, who are using the platform for their own gain and no real gain of growing the community, which, by the way, they're not entitled to doing themselves. But what I am going to address in this video here is whether or not that WhatNot streamers who are streaming, who are collecting all the products off the street market, which we'll talk about shortly, are doing enough to prevent the high prices that we're all seeing on the platform. Yeah, so as I said, I use this platform quite a lot myself. When I first got back into Pokemon in around, when was it, April 2024, I believe, middle of Scarlet and Violet era. I've been thinking about it for a while to get back into the hobby. And then obviously missed out on the COVID boom, which is a bit of a shame. Could have got a load of team up boxes and stuff like that at the time. But to be honest with you, I think down the line, it obviously became a little bit more financially acceptable for me to join the hobby again. So yeah, when I first joined, it was actually my brother who introduced me to WhatNot. Be honest with you, I didn't really know how to use it at first. I didn't understand the concept too much. I mean, I've been on eBay plenty of times and I understand the bidding war and all that sort of stuff. But WhatNot took a little bit of a while for me to get involved in. And to be honest with you, there was a few streams, and I will name a few streams that I really liked. I like the likes of Card Galaxy, PokeSoph. There are plenty of others, Bill's Pokemon, who I know really well, as you probably know. Really great streamers, great people, Hot Hands as well, Chris, who are actively helping the community. They're not here to make a quick buck and bounce after 2 years. I think that's what I found really interesting about, specifically on WhatNot. It gets a lot of heat, obviously. There are a lot of people on there that are not only scalping, but certainly, you know, pulling a fast one, sending out fake products, you know, ripping people off and stuff like that. But from what I saw in the early days on WhatNot, that didn't happen. There was a lot of good people out there. You were getting very good prices. You know, and to be honest with you, that was exactly where I'd go for my singles. It helped me collect master sets and stuff. So WhatNot, I will never, for me personally, I'll never slam as a platform. Could it do better? Absolutely. But I think from this point of view, I'm not slamming WhatNot. I just need to talk about this situation at hand. So we've painted that picture for you there. I was using it for 6-7 months or so, going into the middle of last year, I'd say, so around a year or so. I took a step back from using WhatNot. I started going into a bit more of a seal collection, and WhatNot is not a great place for that, if I'm completely honest. It's great for singles, it's great if you want packs and all that sort of stuff, but when it comes to sealed product and, you know, making a collection, not so great. So I took a step back, came off the platform for a little bit, not deleted my account or anything like that. I just came off the platform. And when I did do that, I kind of actually felt okay with that. You know, a lot of people understandably who are small-time streamers, and they wouldn't mind me saying that, I'm sure, weren't making much money off of it, to be completely honest, so they took a step back as well. So I didn't really feel the need to go onto WhatNot as much as I used to. Yeah, so in the last month or so, I've actually been going back onto WhatNot, just checking out people's streams, revisiting old ones. Yeah, there's a lot of really great people out there still, but I just want to throw this out there as well, that when I came back, the people that I was still streaming, that were streaming when I was watching the first time, are still there. But I started seeing things from other people I'd never seen before, joining random streams. And also, let me just say that I don't watch every single stream the whole way through. So this is just what I'm seeing on the top end of things, from the surface level. Yeah, so I'm starting to see a lot of streams that are coming into the game, coming into the hobby, and basically started streaming off of nothing. The things that are concerning me, when you join streams and packs, specifically around launch days, this is the thing that got me a little bit hyped and a little bit crazy to make this video, to be completely honest. When you kind of see, take Ascending Heroes, for example, you know, I know the product's not really out there. The staggered launch wasn't great. And ETBs have only just come out at the time of filming. But when you're seeing people take a ton of products off the market for regular Joes on the high street, charging what would be £5, $7-ish a pack, and you're seeing people bid up to 30, 35, 40, it's just, to me, it's absolutely insane. So this is kind of what got me started to talk about this situation. So yeah, it's not in my nature to call people out. That's the first thing I don't want to do. You know, if you're going to watch my videos, great. I'm not going to name you. You know, the people I get on really well with, I'm sure they don't mind me talking about them specifically and the great things that they've done for the community and the hobby. But the people that are doing this, I'm not going to name you. I'm very small time on YouTube, I'm sure, and you can take my opinion with a pinch of salt. Firstly, let me clarify, excuse me, that I don't know everyone's situation, obviously. You know, some of the streamers on there that have got tons of product have distribution. So, you know, for someone who's got distribution, have at it, not a problem. I think the issue I have is when they go around to every single shop around the community or whatever, pick up loads of product just to stream and essentially use on their streams. Again, not totally against that at all. I'm really not. I think the thing that I am against is what I just said there, is taking 10, 15, 20 ETBs off the market for average Joes on the street and charging £35 per pack. That's what I don't like. I think that's wrong. And to be completely honest with you, this is what's going into the next issue. Do streamers have more responsibility to make sure the market prices stay at a reasonable level? So some may say they are technically a business, which is completely fair. You know, they're potentially at times maybe overpaying for product to then sell on their streams. I get the margins are really fine right now. I totally understand that. I think from my point of view, and I have seen this live and in person, where people have gone into shops, came out with 10 ETBs with a whole group of people behind them. You know, they could be scalpers. Let's be completely fair, because, you know, if you're walking in as a collector and collecting 10 ETBs, then there's something wrong with you in the head, to be completely honest, especially when you've got kids and people behind you. For me, that's just not in my nature to do. But I think when it comes to stuff like this, do streamers have a responsibility to tell people to no, stop spending that amount of money? In my personal opinion, yes, they do. And I'll be frank with you, when I was actually on WhatNot fairly frequently, people were doing that on a regular basis. So, prime example, there was definitely streams that I was in where people were paying 12, 13, 14 pound a pack, which again is massively under what I'm saying it is now, where people were going, guys, stop bidding that amount of money. You're going to get your packs. Don't worry, there's plenty to go around. And the streamers would actively call that out. Now I don't see that as much. In the last week or so, I've seen streams absolutely going per pack, £35 a pack for the Ascending Hero set. I definitely saw that again when we were talking about Prismatic. Prismatic went crazy last year, obviously, but obviously product weren't in circulation as much as it should have been. And you see people charging crazy money. I think, you know, some streamers, for example, were charging £30, £35 a pack for a Japanese set. And that to me is absolutely crazy. So do sellers have a responsibility to make sure the market price stays at a reasonable level, shall I say, excuse me, reasonable level to help the community? Absolutely, I believe they do. If you look at when we were kids, accessibility used to be going to your local paper shop or whatever it may be, picking up a couple of packs, probably £3-4 each, and that'd be it for you for a month. It's not the same anymore, right? So you have all these online places like WhatNot to be able to pick up packs, these shops online to pick up packs. But when you're seeing people overprice them and kind of, you know, outbid you each time into crazy money that you know, you can't really say is fair. And by the way, I'm not saying, oh, you know, got to think about the kids. That's totally not what I'm saying right now. But yes, we absolutely do need to think about the kids, of course, because we want this hobby to grow. But when you think about, you know, people who are paying £30, £35, £40 per pack, not only is that crazy for kids, it's also crazy for adults as well. Like, I don't see anyone paying that amount of money who's got a brain cell, to be completely honest with you, per pack. You know, I just think that's crazy. So yes, I do believe sellers have a responsibility. But you're also probably saying, Cockney, well, what about the people who are actually buying it? They're definitely not blameless in this situation at all. Are there times in streams, and by the way, I have seen this for sure, where you know that people are associated with each other and they're ramping up the price for sure. Are consumers to blame as well? Yes, absolutely. It's no different from what you see on a marketplace or an eBay or whatever it may be. If people keep buying, people will keep selling, right? So, if there's a demand for it, there will certainly be a supply. I think when you look at this situation, if consumers are willing to pay £30 or £35 a pack, then more for them, to be completely honest. But like I say, it does do more damage than good, to be honest. So if you think about, the £35 that you're paying every single time, let's be fair, you could probably have got maybe a booster box and something else and a couple of packs on top of that. But if you're paying it for one pack and you've set the standard early, everyone then now knows that every pack after that is going to be around that mark, and it does price people out. It does absolutely turn people off of the hobby, and you can see people leaving the hobby. Absolutely you can. But with that being said, people are coming back in and thinking this is the norm. When I joined the hobby in 2024, you could potentially go on Pokémon Center and pick up a booster box if you wanted to. You could go on there and pick up an ETB. Yes, times have gone crazy, but I don't think the consumer has helped that situation in any way, shape or form. I personally don't believe in overpaying for products. I think that's silly. I think you're better off just waiting. I do have this general rule that if it's gone out of print, then sure, you've got fair game there. I think at the end of the day, like, people have a right to be able to sell their collection specifically, if that's what they want to do. But I think for a new set like Ascending Heroes and people paying £35 a pack, it's absolutely crazy. So what's the whole point of this video? As I said, it's not to call out every WhatNot streamer, and I hope that people who are watching this video ain't getting offended by it and understand where I'm coming through on this respect. Like I said, there's a lot of great people out there who actually do amazing work for the community, who are great WhatNot streamers, and continue to be great WhatNot streamers. I think when you start looking at this as well, the consumer specifically, this is aimed at, I think we need to start getting people like this out of the hobby. If you don't pay the £35 a pack, they won't sell it. It's simple as that. They won't sell it at £35 a pack. It'll be much lower, it'll be much more affordable. We all know, right, that once people, and there are definitely people in this hobby that are here for a quick buck and then they'll bounce. They'll move on to the next fad, whether that's trainers, whether that's Yu-Gi-Oh, whether that's One Piece, you name it. They'll be there doing that next year or so. They're the people we don't want in the hobby. They're the people that we want to get rid of. And they're the people I see as WhatNot's final boss, right? Because they're not the people that are here long term. They're the people that are not going to be here in 5 years' time. They're the people that are going to be selling you high product for a high price now. And you'll be, looking back in 2, 3, 4 years' time going, why did I spend that amount of money? So yeah, I think when it comes to that situation, we need to do more. Yeah, so just to wrap up, these are, like I said, these are my thoughts. They're no one else's thoughts. I don't want to go out and offend people. That is not my style. But I feel like it's time to start speaking up, and the community has to start doing something more. Like I say, if you want to spend £35 on a pack, then that's on you. But, I think, like I say, we have to, as a community, come together and start not paying those crazy prices for the packs and crazy prices for products, and start enjoying the hobby again, because it can feel like a chore at times, and people are actively beginning to fall out of love with it, really, to be completely honest. So yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Honestly, it's just me rambling on for a couple of minutes. Please do let me know what you think down in the comments. Obviously, be nice in the comments. I'm not going out and attacking everyone, so I just want to make sure that it's a reasonable debate. So please do comment down in below what you think. And follow me on my socials at the Cockney Collector. And I'd love it if you could like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. All right, you lot, are you looking to level up your sealed collection? If so, look no further than ZardGuard. ZardGuard provide the ultimate protection for your collection. It's made by collectors for collectors. ZardGuard specialise in premium acrylics for your ETBs, your booster boxes, your booster bundles, your UPCs, you name it, they've got it. And you can level up your collection as well with the code Cockney Collector for a 10% discount at checkout. ZardGuard, the ultimate protection for your collection.